Hello and welcome to Mickeyology, where we take Disney a little too seriously. I'm Austin Rathball, and today we're examining one of Disney's wackiest and funniest animated features, The Emperor's New Groove. While this movie doesn't always get the same love as other Disney classics, it's still a beloved film with some of the most quotable lines in the Disney canon, and it features Patrick Warburton at his absolute Warburtonist.
My spinach puffs!
Behind the comedy, however, lies a story set in a real-world culture. What culture is that, though? When and where does this movie take place? Let's analyze the clues and find out. When The Emperor's New Groove began production, it was called Kingdom of the Sun. It was going to be an epic musical set in the Incan Empire. Director Roger Allers recalled, "I had finished Lion King and was looking around to see what to do next. Tom Schumacher, executive vice president for Walt Disney Feature Animation, called me in and he had 3 pictures up on the wall. Representations of Inca, Aztec, and Mayan cultures. For the Incan culture, there was a picture of these amazing stone buildings in Machu Picchu, the city atop a mountain in the clouds. I said I'd love to try to develop something around the Incas. I started looking for an idea. Allers found his idea in the story of a selfish emperor who learns selflessness from a llama herder. A team of Disney filmmakers visited Peru and studied Incan sites like Machu Picchu to prepare for the film. Then they got to work using what they learned to make their movie. As production went on, the story transformed into a more cartoonish tale, and the movie's setting evolved from a fairly faithful version of the Incan Empire to an alternate universe version with diners, water slides, and trampolines. As Allers said, when they changed it to being a more light-hearted film, they pushed the design elements of the Incan architecture and made it way more extreme. So while the finished film presents a zany version of the Inca's world, it is the Inca world nonetheless. All this indicates that the film takes place in a cartoon version of Peru, during the age of the Incan Empire. Now there is one flaw in this theory, and it comes from a line in Cusco's theme song. An enigma and a mystery in Mesoamerican history. As any geography student will tell you, Peru is in South America, not Mesoamerica. So does this line mean that the movie takes place in another empire? The Mayan or Aztec Empire, perhaps? My guess would be no. Llamas are central to this story, and llamas are native to South America, not Mesoamerica. Plus, Cusco was the name of the Incan capital city. Not to mention there are multiple Incan designs throughout the film. So why did Disney put the word Mesoamerican into their song?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
We can now safely assume that the movie does take place in the Incan Empire, despite what our Las Vegas singer says. While the Incan civilization lasted for centuries, and there are descendants of the Inca alive today, the Incan Empire only existed from about 1438 to 1533. Therefore, The Emperor's New Groove must take place sometime during that century. However, the empire was vast, and there are various chapters to its history. So exactly when and where in the Inca world do Cusco and Pacha fit? To find out, let's go straight to the source, the story. So we can safely assume that the movie takes place sometime during the history of the Inca Empire. But when exactly? Well, the film shows us that Cusco was born into a life of privilege as a future emperor doted on by everyone around him. Yzma also gives us a clue when she says,
"But, Your Highness, I have been nothing if not loyal to the Empire for many, many years."
This tells us that the story takes place after the Incan Empire has already existed for a long time. So the movie can't take place near the founding of the empire, and instead it must take place in the latter part of Incan history. However, if this was set very late in Incan history, then Cusco would be fighting off the Spanish conquistadors, or at least seeing the effects of the diseases that they brought to South America's shores. However, in the movie, Cusco's life seems pretty carefree. There are no Spanish around, and his top priority is building a resort for himself. There was a period in Incan history before the Spanish conquest when the empire had already existed for many years, and when emperors were building things kind of like Cuscotopia. It was the reign of Huayna Capac. Around the year 1500, Huayna Capac became emperor, and the empire reached its height under his rule. At one point, Huayna Capac built a beautiful city and a palace for himself, as well as a large ceremonial pool in the Andean highlands. Huayna Capac's reign lasted until 1525 when the emperor died of smallpox. Thank you, Spanish conquistadors. After that, a civil war broke out, and then the Spanish conquistadors actually showed up on the Incans' doorstep. Therefore, the relatively peaceful 25-year period of Huayna Capac's reign seems to be the most likely time in which this story could take place, with Emperor Cusco serving as a young, alternate universe version of Huayna Capac himself. All that's left to determine is where the film takes place. The movie begins deep in a jungle, but the story really begins in a city from which Cusco rules his empire. Now, at certain times, the Incan Empire had multiple capital cities, but the finest and most prominent was Cusco City, which is also close to Machu Picchu, the site Disney animators visited on their research trip. Therefore, we can assume that the city in the movie is a cartoonish version of Cusco City. However, Emperor Cusco accidentally leaves that city when he's transformed into a llama, and he and Pacha must go on a long trek back to the city together. So, where does this journey take them? Throughout the movie, Cusco and Pacha travel through jungles and hills, but the climate appears uniformly humid and tropical. Peru contains various climates, including desert regions in the west, as well as snow-capped mountains in the Andes. To the east lie the fertile jungles of the Amazon basin. Since Cusco and Pacha never travel through any cold mountains or any arid deserts, and they travel through many jungle areas, they must be traveling in the eastern part of Peru, within walking distance of Cusco. That means the movie takes place entirely in southeast Peru. Based on statements from the filmmakers, the story itself, and the scenery, I am placing Disney's The Emperor's New Groove near Cusco, Peru, circa 1510. So there you have it. There is my theory on when and where Disney's The Emperor's New Groove takes place. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of my theory, and let me know when and where you think The Emperor's New Groove takes place. Also, let me know which Disney movie you would like me to analyze next. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go so that you don't miss another video and our channel has a good chance to grow. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.